Are you ready for some football? Because your Chiefs just about are. They're starting to show up in Kansas City, and OTAs are right around the corner. Welcome in. It is RGR Football, hosted to you by Dan Harms, and I'm Ryan Tracy. Nice to see you. We're going to go through what we're going through without football yet, but it's close. It's so close I can feel it. Dan, welcome to another week. For those of you who are joining us, I know live streams are not usually on Tuesdays around here, but they are tonight because of the holiday and because I was on an airplane until very, 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 very late last night. So thanks for making this work, Dan. How you doing?
We're making it, right? You guys, you all know that we're trying to get through the off season as much as we can. Draft hits, and then it's like there's a huge lull. It still goes quickly, but we're now here into OTAs, and very, very soon we'll be turning around, and it's going to be training camp. So I just keep looking on the horizon, right? We've got a Brashard Smith film review dropping tomorrow, so all things are going as they should be.
Oh, I like it. I'm ready for that. And we're going to have stuff like that for you all through the summer. Don't worry. I know it's late here. I hope you guys have been enjoying the little series from my deck. I'm trying to do quick hitters, stuff that we can just give you because everything's going to change pretty quickly here with OTAs. They're going to give a couple of reps here and a couple of reps there, and things are going to change. And the big thing for me, and the reason that I put it on the title here is I think the NFL is expecting the Chiefs to still be stuck in the mud, stuck in not being able to be as explosive as they want, to be not really set up to be dominant. And I think that is all about to change. And I think Rashee Rice he's not going to be ready fully in this camp. So let's not get our expectations there. But Rashee Rice is going to give you glimpses of what it needs to be during the season. And I think that puts a little bit of pressure on a couple of the other targets, but I think it also gives us a glimpse of where this is going. And I think if they do what I feel that they should do, which is let Rashee mentor Jalen and then start feeding Jalen Royals in these OTAs when it is a passing camp and there's not a whole lot of contact, there's not a whole lot of stuff, that's going to scare the crap out of the NFL because they're going to finally go, oh, wait a minute. They got two burners in Hollywood and Xavier, and now they got a guy that can do some of what Rashee does, and they're going to get Rashee back. And, oh, there might not be a suspension, and holy cow, what are we going to do? And then there's Travis and these other guys. That's what I'm here for. Do you think I'm too optimistic?
So maybe slightly, but overall, I think that what we can realistically assume is that take just real quickly – these videos that we're seeing from Rashee Rice, right? He looks very good. He looks spry for a guy coming off an injury. More explosive than you'd expect as well. So I can't wait to see what the pads look like because that's where we get to see actual movement, right? We get to see what he looks like in those situations. I think he's going to play the whole season. We've talked about this a lot, and he's going to be taking over the Travis Kelce quote-unquote role. What I mean by that is the option routes, the little quick hitters, the find the spot. Just do that. Just hey, Rashee, go find the spot. We don't care about running a real route right now. We want you to find the spot in the middle of the field and exploit that. Travis can take attention from the defense still. Then you have Xavier, you have Hollywood, and then you just sprinkle in a little Jalen Royals here, who again can do some of that too. If you put Rashee on one side and Jalen on the other side, and you get two guys with the ball in their hands like that, you start to really idealize what this offense could be if it continues what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have done over the past few years, where it's ball comes out, yards after catch, yards after catch. The real scary thought is if the pass protection actually holds up. Because if that happens, oh boy, it's going to be we're going to have some actual attempts down the field. Not just to him, not just to Worthy, not just to Hollywood. Rashee's going to get a couple. Jalen Royals is going to get a couple. And that's where you get Travis Kelce just stopping 20 yards down the field. Hi, I'm open, guys. And it's going to be like that in the postseason when they get everything together. And that's what's really going to be scary when they figure that part out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It all comes together to form a new offense. And not a new offense, but the next evolution of this offense. And it will take the goat-to-goat thing to get it done. it all feeds into how well they can do that. So, Minotaur, thank you. Appreciate that you're liking the deck vids so far. It does make them a little bit easier for me to record. So I'm gonna try to like give a lot of thoughts on a lot of guys as we go through the process, so that we can give you some bites here through the summer and stuff. While we have kids sports and all kinds of stuff coming up, and congratulations to you. Glad you guys are doing this. Well, guess what I decided to do? I'm going to be right there with you. Looks like as well. So summer's getting hectic really, really damn fast. So appreciate everything Dan's doing to hold things down and help us out. And we appreciate you for 45 months, buddy. Season, you were going to hit 4 years, and we couldn't do it without you. We appreciate you very much. It's good to see you too. And you asked the first question tonight. What's more plausible in your minds? Noah Williams will get, let's say, 6 ints on the year, or Norman Lott 10 sacks. I know it's not probable, just hypothetical. Which is more likely? Statistically, it's the sacks. But I think Noah's got kind of a knack for the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the one I would go with. I think that even with statistically the sack being the higher one, 10 for him, 10 is absurd. It's an absurd number for him to reach as a rookie. And the only reason I would side with Knowles is because that's what he does. He finds the football. He's the only guy in the Chiefs secondary that has a knack for the football. Like that's what he does. And you can put him in any situation you need to, and he can find ways to be around the football. That's the thing that's so interesting about Noah Williams is, he had his career with UNLV first, and then he transferred to Cal last 2 years. And this season, it kind of clicked for him. And you see that with the ball production, not just the interceptions, but the passes defensed. So, and again, it's a lot of the same stuff that the Chiefs are really good with their corners. That the difference is that he's faster at identifying where he's got leverage versus the receiver, and he gets his head around. And he understands that, and he also trusts his short area burst to get back to that receiver if he does get beat. So he still has comfortability turning his head around when he's chasing down receivers. So all in all, I think it has to be 6 interceptions for him if in this crazy situation either one of these actually were to happen.
It is a tall order all the way around, but hey, you got to hope for it. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And thank you, Minotaur, for everything that you do around here, being a member and everything else. Another one of our members, Steve, is in here. Compared to last year, how does our defense look compared to last year heading into OTAs? And I will say this, other than the glaring hole at defensive tackle that Norman Lott will partially fill, and along with a lot of other question marks in that gap. Really, I'm intrigued to see how the safety group does with the loss of Justin Reed, who is, I think, Jaden Hicks is capable of fulfilling some of his athletic on-field things, but in terms of the maturity and the leadership of that group, I think it swings from what was a safety-oriented group to now McDuffie being the best player in the room in the secondary. It makes you the natural leader. What does that do? Trent's not a very vocal guy. He said that himself multiple times. So who steps into that void? That's what I'm looking for. It might be Hicks. We don't know. But other than that, do you see a big difference?
Not necessarily, unless, again, you just kind of get people falling off just a little, If Justin Reed leaves a hole that they can't fill, if Brian Cook continues to play the exact same way he's played, and Jaden can't be Justin Reed, which again, I think he can be that and more in terms of what he can be to this defense. But again, we're talking about the corners being the best position group on the field if they're in nickel, which can be hard to facilitate because the Chiefs want to play kind of to the way where they take, corners and they press into the safeties. But all in all, they want to give their defense time to get pressures. That's how their defense kind of folds. It's take away early on and then let the pressures get to them. They're not the quickest at generating pressures and sacks. That's what the idealistically have good coverage on the outside. They can funnel to their linebackers and safeties. But if you don't have a coverage linebacker, and Drew Tranquill continues that style of play last year because it wasn't very good in coverage, I think he has to lose a little bit of weight to be able to do some of that. So I think the optimistic approach to this is that their corners are just better. Up and down, they're just way better than they were last year, which realistically already is. On paper, they're way better than they were last year without the injuries. And you hope you get a step up here from a linebacker, from a safety, and then somebody, Charles Menahue, can be the guy as a pass rusher to get a quick pressure every now and then on third down when you need it. So realistically, I don't think it's absurd to say they can be relatively the same defense that they have been the last couple of years. It's going to look different, and there's going to some pieces are missing. It's going to take a little bit of time. Post bye, everything will be okay.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's going to take some growing pains. That's all there is to it. Daryl, nice to see you, buddy, and thanks for reminding us. Matt Derrick is on live on his channel as well. So I hate to double up on him. We do our best to avoid, giving you multiple streams at the same time. So we're going to answer your questions tonight, and we're going to let you get to Matt as well. Support folks who do good work, and so we're not going to stand in the way of that here very long. Maybe for a couple of minutes. We'll be all right. Let's see. Driving back down to Bradley, I think it's good, and that no cameras are in there in the facility today, and so they could look at the tape from the last game they played. Is that good, and does it keep the guys from keep them focused on this season? It does somewhat. But you also have to remember they did all the breakdown, and the veterans have gone back and looked at it over the summer. So they've taken their takeaways and what they need to guard against. I do think it is a difficult time here. You don't want to overload the rookies. They have a lot going on. They all just went home, packed up, and moved to Kansas City, literally. Yeah. So it is a lot going on right now for them. So I do think that the team's aware of that, and I think they do their best to be a little bit understanding there. But you also have to say the hard part when you are a Super Bowl loser is the next season you have to show your rookies, look, we made it to this Super Bowl. This is what this extravaganza is. This is what you have to prepare for. Just ignore the fact that we lost that ball game. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of give and take with two different hands.
Yeah, I think they've kind of moved on for the most part. You're probably not going to see the vets look at that game at all. That's pretty much over. You might see some of the young guys look at it and get just to see again how bad it went, to give them a little bit of motivation too. But right now the vets don't need that. They have to focus now on this season, what they're going to execute this year. So as far as that goes, no, that's out of their mind in terms of what they have to focus on. The focusing is this year, what they can do to get better, and realistically what they have to do to sustain this dynasty for as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. Look at the changes that they've made. Look at the viewpoints. Obviously, they have an answer early on for left tackle, but they've given themselves the future left tackle with Josh Simmons possibly in 2026, maybe earlier. The future at right tackle, in my opinion, was Jalen Moore from the start. I think you also have that ability there too. So there's going to be some things that change. And then overall, this is the training camp that's going to help us figure out what it looks like post Travis Kelce as well.
I was just going to say, this is the dividing line. When we look back at this dynasty in 10 years, it's going to be with Trav, without Trav.
Yep.
It's going to be a significant difference, and it's going to flip it on its head, and we don't know what's coming yet, Bradley. Thanks for the question, though. Good to see you, buddy. Only Knives, any real action on the field today? No. Just meetings. They have the conditioning test, I believe, tomorrow, and I believe they're on the field on Thursday, but I don't have that confirmed yet. So we will see when they actually get out there. They have the ability to move things around until they make the announcement, which should be coming here in the next couple of days, but we'll let you know when we see it. Justin wants to know, WTF with Vought wanting guaranteed money at the end of the second. These kids are getting smarter. They definitely are getting smarter. Josh Connerly got a fully guaranteed contract, 100%. That is significant. And hey, more power to him. Get smarter, because rookies have injuries too. Second-year players have injuries that can cost you a career. So good for you. Get that thing guaranteed. It's still relatively very low cost versus your second contract. So, hey, I didn't see whether he did get it all guaranteed, though. Did you?
I haven't seen either. Honestly, teams are going to be more than willing to do that for second, third round picks anyway. at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're talking about a few mil. Like, okay, no big deal. We'll guarantee that. And then regardless, hopefully you want those guys anyway, right? You want them to be on your team, so they're going to look at it as a good investment regardless.
I have to think so as well, and hopefully, in particular, in Omar's case, it's an excellent investment. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Tyrone, nice to see you, buddy. Good evening to you as well. Do you think, or what do you think of the UDFA running back? Is it Quaylon? Is that how I'm supposed to say that?
Quaylon Jones, I believe.
Quaylin, as though it were an I. Okay, Quaylin. I did not watch him pre-draft. I went back and I looked at a couple of highlights. I can see why they want to give him a shot. How he fits in, I'm still not super clear on. What do you think?
He's almost, in my opinion, in direct competition with Carson Steele. There is no other in-betweens for me. This is a power, physical, 200 and almost 40-pound back we're talking about. That's direct competition to Carson Steele, who, again, was given an opportunity last year because of injury, and he's not a fullback. So if Quaylon Jones can come in and block better, he might have the inside edge in that regard. But again, I would think it's a little uphill climb for Jones because Carson has the experience in the system. We're also going to get to see what he looks like this year, because if they want him to play more fullback snaps / F tight end or move guys, he might have bulked up, put on a bit more weight too. So we'll get to see that.
Yeah, and that should be a nice indication. I just hope he doesn't cut the hair, because I think that might be his superpower. I don't know.
Right.
Well, let's keep that flowing. Swag, nice to see you. What's your stats for Rasheed, Worthy, Rice, and Kelsey? How many yards and touchdowns? Ooh, I like this. I'm going to give away one of my earlier answers when I do it, but I'm going to let you go first.
Swag, what are you doing, man? This is May. You're kind of a sicko right now. This is kind of a sicko question in May.
I'm here for the sickos. Let's go.
Okay, so I think Rasheed Rice is going to break 1,000. Plays full year. I think he breaks 1,000 yards. I do believe that's how good of a player he is in this offense specifically, and the yards after catch stuff is already there. This is where it gets interesting, because I could also see in an offense that is trying to focus less on Travis Kelce and focus on their two young players, I could also see Xavier Worthy going for 1,000 yards. But I think he probably has around 850 with, again, maybe close to double-digit touchdowns, a couple of big ones in there. Hollywood, 600, 650. That wouldn't shock me at all. Maybe a little bit lower. But we have to remember that Jalen Royals is here too. And Noah Gray is coming off of a 460-yard season. That has to factor in somewhere if he has to take a step back because of that. You see it. And honestly, you guys aren't going to be happy. I think Travis Kelce takes a step back this year. Not necessarily by talent-wise, but focal point-wise. I don't think he's going to be the focal point of the offense. And I think that 750 yards is probably where Travis fits in this year. But he's going to be healthier and fresher for the postseason.
I am going to disagree with you completely. So we should put it on a board somewhere. That's what we should do. Because this in this order, this is what I see: 9, 8, 7, 11, and then maybe throw in one of the others, whether it's Gray or I think Bernie Steele might get targets. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I hope so.
I think the girth and the spread of this offense with Rasheed, Hollywood, and Worthy out there allows Travis more opportunities. And I think he gets back to smaller routes that he can then turn into yak. I think he actually breaks 1,000. And hopefully, I think he's going to call it a career is what I'm saying. I hope he goes out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, I hope he does too. I personally believe if Travis has over 1,000 yards, something went wrong somewhere along the way. No offense to him,
bro.
but there's an injury or something, and I realistically, I don't think you want him at 1,000 yards because that shows you how reliant you have to be on him for your offense, and there has to be a transition somewhere. There has to be. So I think that Rasheed is for that this year, but we'll find out. And I'm not going to be mad if he gets over 1,000 yards. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to sit here, hey, my man, Travis, 1,000 yards is just ridiculous. No, I'm not going to be like that. But I think Rasheed is going to be the guy this year.
Well, and I'll double down on mine as well. I won't be upset if Travis ends up with 850 yards. especially if X and Rashid get $1,000 each to have dual 1,000-yard receivers. I'm here for that all day and twice on Sunday. So let's bring that. And thank you guys. If you click the thumbs up, that would help. Thank you, Daryl, for always reminding me. Bradley, did you hear that Joey Bosa has a hamstring? Shocker, I know. And could be out until training camp. Yes. And I don't see the Bills defense doesn't scare me against our offense, to be honest. Well, he is part of what I think they're trying to bulk up in Buffalo to try to take on the Chiefs. So I am a little bit concerned that if they were to get those things going, but clearly, and I said this in an episode you'll see shortly, this is how I'm going to call it. Joey Bosa is the virus that the Chargers have had for all that time. I'm convinced now that every injury begins with him, just spreads through the team. So hopefully the Bills are inundated with hamstring pulls. We don't have to worry about them at all.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the Bills just consistently they're trying to add somebody with speed. Von Miller helped them out quite a bit last year, honestly, when he was effective and healthy. But they need that because, in large part, they don't get pressure quick, and the Chiefs have been able to exploit that every single postseason to the tune of averaging over 30 points a game against the Bills in the postseason. They are trying desperately to bring something, a guy who, honestly, when Joey's been healthy against the Chiefs, he has success. He's pretty good against the Chiefs. They want that. That's why they brought Von Miller in. That's why they're bringing Joey Bosa in now. They want someone that has experience against Patrick Mahomes to be able to play against him. But when you bring in guys that are hurt at the ends of their careers, guess what? You're not really helping yourself.
You might not even get him to play against Patrick Mahomes. So thank you, Brad. Nice to see you, bud. Dub, nice to see you, and thank you for the support, Pally. Footy question. I hope you mean our version, not yours, because I don't know anything about it. Were you annoyed seeing the Spurs win the Europa and get the Champions League? Also, as an Aston Villa fan, you're an Aston fan. Okay. To miss out on the fifth because of the goal difference was soul destroying. I understand. And that's one of the things that, like, I don't know a whole lot about your version of football. I do watch the Wrexham show. I do like the guys around there. And I understand that the leagues, to have something come down to an end of a season on a goal differential or a point differential as we would have in our football game, I would be absolutely with you, setting things on fire. I can understand the hooligans from this point of view.
So I am not as versed in the inner workings of the leagues. I think it's no offense. No offense to anybody, because it's awesome that you guys love it so much. It's dumb. It's dumb to have to have the champions. Like, you guys have seen, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, right? The idea of having the Champions League, right, just exist makes no sense. They have inter-seasonal tournaments. I actually agree with the idea of relegation. I believe now that the Chiefs have the NFL has the UFL, at the end of the year, teams should be regulated. So there are some teams that deserve to be regulated in the NFL, but I don't understand a lot of the inner workings of that, to have that. But to Ryan's point, having something so meaningful to these organizations come down to a goal differential, it's an unserious way to do it. It's unserious, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's a good term to use. I'm going to steal that. I'll tell you this. If we had relegation in the States, the Cleveland Browns would be playing your local elementary school. That's all I'm saying. So maybe someday. Dub, I appreciate you, buddy. And I'm sorry for you and all the Villa fans out there. I've caught one of your games from time to time, and I know just enough to be an absolute idiot American. So thanks for the help. maybe you can come on the show at some point this summer and explain to us. Maybe give us the breakdown. Swag, I think the offense will carry and score 30 points plus. I don't see the defense being that well. Wow. So the rejuvenation is on, and you're not sure about the defense. I actually feel better about the defense and what it's done, except for the DT spot. If Omar pays off, then they might be in business.
That's you're hoping for, right? You're hoping that he pays off. That's why you bring him in. They're also just kind of hoping that they can continue to churn out all these defensive ends to play inside at some point. That's ideally what they want to do. They want to have the ultimate defensive end group where they can just keep going, keep you fresh, keep going, keep you rotating in. The problem is last year was their best run defense season under Steve Spagnuolo. I don't think it was even close.
No.
Do you think that's going to happen this year? Because I don't think that's going to happen this year. So in order to get to where you can actually use these guys as rotational players on second and longs and third downs, you have to be better against the run. And I don't know if they're going to be there. So realistically, unless, again, Norman Lott showed lots of flashes. Like flashes, even as a run defender. Like the flashes are all there. The tools, the body type. He's a perfect plug-in 3-1 tech. You can do whatever you want to with him. The consistency, the usage has to be there for him. We have to see that developmental upside. So if he hits, this defense is going to be very, very good, and it's not going to matter so much. But they don't have any depth at defensive tackle. They have none. So again, hopefully Fabian Levitt comes in and plays. Like that'd be fantastic to give you something, but there's no depth. So I don't know if I agree with the offense scoring 30 plus a game. I just think those days are kind of behind them, unless teams want to play single high again, in which case we welcome it and we'll see 30 points a game again. But I think that this style of football that they're playing against mitigates, how quickly they can score. And when you get limited, quote unquote, limited possessions like the Chiefs are getting, they're not getting the 10, 11, 12 possessions a game on offense like they were when they had one touchdown, a one play touchdown and stuff like that. It takes a little bit more for them to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know.
I hope you're right.
Unfortunately, I feel like maybe, at least for the defensive tackles, the best run defending defensive tackle on this roster in 2025 isn't on the roster now. That's what I'm concerned about. So we're going to have to see how it goes. Swag, you got another one. Last question. Sure, buddy. Sure. Because I see another one from you already in the list. Who's your early MVP for next year? So not this season.
I assume it's this season. He means next year because it hasn't started yet.
Oh, I was talking 26. Okay, I was trying to make a leap of faith there. Okay. Well, easy for me. I think Travis is going to set everything on fire and go down swinging.
Does he mean like Chiefs MVP or does he mean like league MVP? Because there's
a
couple.
I always assume Chiefs first.
It could probably be league MVP. So I think I'll probably stick that way.
Okay.
Let's see. I feel like it's probably going to be Lamar again. He's just been like the guy. He's got the counting stats. He's got the rushing totals. He has all of those that work in his favor. And I'm not saying that Patrick doesn't, obviously, but he doesn't get the rushing. But the rushing has become a very big focal point for MVP voters. So I still think it's going to be Lamar, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Jaden Daniels is a very close player in that regard.
You went where I'm going. You ever go to the liquor store and you're trying to get something for the wife, whatever, and she wants Margs or a martini or whatever, and they have that brand, Skinny Girl drinks?
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is the skinny Lamar version of the MVP this season. That's what I'm calling that. Folks, if you want to hear our alcohol reviews and our food reviews, the channel's coming. We're working on it. And maybe we'll have to talk about Skinny Girl stuff because I think it could be Daniels. I think they're setting him up with new weapons, and I think he's got another level. And I have to admit, I was wrong. He's a better pocket passer than I thought he would be in the league. He's been able to overcome some of the deficits that I thought were there in his reads in college. And kudos to good coaching. So I think he's in for a step forward. He would be my first choice.
Yeah, when you add Deebo Samuel, you're not adding a down the field player. You're adding someone to get the ball out quickly to, because that was really where they had to manufacture yards after catch stuff. Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Luke McCaffrey. No. Deebo Samuel
How do you really
gives
feel?
you. Yeah, I still have issues with people trying to tell me that Luke McCaffrey was going to be a really good NFL player, but that was provably untrue. There was a stretch when they drafted him. There was no reason to draft him in the 4th round, and now you brought in his replacement in terms of the slot player who's going to actually help your offense in Deebo Samuel. So yeah, I agree with that.
I'm with you. Okay, so we got Swag. Sorry, Swag. For a guy who's not asking questions, I keep coming back to it. Delta, nice to see you, bud. Or 3 Delta. What do you think about the idea that the Chiefs want to start Simmons from the get-go if he is okay to start? I think Adam Teicher's smoking stuff. That's what I think. I think it is ridiculously risky, even if he does come back with 100% quote-unquote health, because you know what that injury is, and you know that it takes at least a year to be close to 100%. And you're risking the future left tackle for Patrick Mahomes. So I think it's wishful thinking. I think the whole idea here is if you can play him, and we might even see him in the next couple of weeks because it's against air. You're not blocking anybody. You're not in serious contact. They want to see how he moves. Okay, great. If he runs blocking drills and is taking on Chris Jones at training camp, I will change my tune and admit that I'm wrong. But I don't think there's any way in hell that happens.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been on the opinion that this is the season to set themselves up for now and the future. You don't wreck the future because he's doing well in training camp. You play the long game. You brought in Jalen Moore for a reason. Now, again, if Josh Simmons comes into training camp and then the pads come on and it doesn't stop and it just keeps getting better, we can have the conversation. Okay, fine. The problem is we haven't seen him play in pads since he got hurt in week 5.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. It's great on air. It's great in recovery. In practice, it doesn't make any sense. So anyone that says right now that he's going to be the starter, even if they want to throw in the caveat, if he's ready to go, no one's seen him in pads. We can't make assumptions about that.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it's just to protect the future of the franchise. And nothing against Adam. I give him static because people threw it at me really quickly because I literally the night before said the same thing or the same thing I just said. Is I think it is wishful thinking. And I do think that he probably has the ability right now to do some drills and to look good, and that's great. But I think the Chiefs wanting to do it and the Chiefs being very happy with where he is physically are two very different things. Agreed. So I just hope that they sound on caution. I'll be happily wrong if I am. Yeah, I'll put it that way. And thank you for bringing it up.
It's a great situation to be in if he comes in and he's ready to go. Like it's a great place to be.
Yeah, and Delta, come back and call me out on it, because I will gladly own up to that and be happy for it. Yeah. So, cheers. Thank you, sir. Beach, nice to see you. If you can make one legit trade to fix what you think are the biggest weaknesses, who are you going to go get?
I don't even know, guys. Let's see here. So I think that, again, one of the biggest things that they need is a free safety. Like that completes their defense, even with the defensive tackle stuff. The problem is that there aren't a lot of true free safeties in the NFL because they've kind of gone away from doing that. So I think realistically, if we're saying anything's on the table, anybody's on the table, give me Kyle Hamilton. Bring in Kyle Hamilton. You trade for Kyle Hamilton because he can play free safety. Regardless of what you think about his speed, it's the instincts that matter. He knows exactly where to be. He can play free, but ideally, you don't have to worry about that. And also, he kicks down to the slot against big tight ends, and you don't have to worry about him or Trent McDuffie on tight ends. You can actually matchup-wise utilize him in the same way that you would need to execute the safety in the back end the way you want to.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly help. And it would also give more time to the pass rush. But I would go pass rush first. I believe in pass rush first. And there is no one. I mean, you can argue that Zach Allen had a better year last year in Denver. 80-plus pressures, 14 sacks, right? But the one guy that I would go fix the defensive tackle position is a trade with Howie Roseman and bring me Jalen Carter and let Chris train him up and mentor him for a couple of years, and then you have your next Chris Jones. That's
Yeah.
what I would do, is put those guys side by side, and I think that would go a long, long way.
Be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hey, I'm here for it. I might go do it in Madden. That's what we'll do.
There you go.
What do you want to see come back from previous years to be added to this year's playbook? Ooh, that's a good one, Swag. See, and you got plenty of questions, and they're good ones, so we're going to answer them.
So I want the touch pass to come back like in full force. I want to be able to do that, one, because you have Xavier Worthy that you can do that with, but two, because you guys are going to get a little idealistic view of this when the film room drops tomorrow. Since Bashard Smith was a former wide receiver, SMU did this a lot. They put him in the slot, and then they did touch passes to him across the middle, just like, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. One, it juices up the stats. We love to see juiced up stats. And it gets your speed players in space early. You're going to spread the offense out, right? Exactly, just like that. You're going to get guys in space, and Bashard Smith can be utilized that way. Xavier Worthy can be utilized that way. Hell, even Rashee Rice, Jalen Royals, Hollywood Brown, all of these guys can be used that way. And then you can have fakes off of it. Touch pass, handoff. Touch pass, RPO. You can do lots with it. So I want to see that come back a little bit more.
I like that. That's a great idea. I'm going to go old school, and you guys aren't going to be shocked by this.
No, not even a little bit.
I want one concept back in this offense. Double slants like they threw to Sammy Watkins. I want Rashee Rice in that role, and I want to feed him the ball and let him hit somebody and just grind goal lines down. That's what I'm here for. The double slant concept allows you to run WASP again with someone else.
Yeah.
Because it pulls the whole defense over, and boom, you break away. I am here for setting up the secondary. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you, Swag. Minotaur, Broncos defense is getting kind of scary this year. You're absolutely right. That secondary isn't going to be something to play with. No, it's not. And they will get after you. I do think I admit I had given up on Benito. I had him much higher than most in the draft class. And I was like, shit, maybe he just can't figure it out. And I gave up on him. Guess I was wrong. It happens.
I think they're going to be a top 3 defense in the NFL this year.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a top 3 front. That's for sure. What is it our O-line struggles against the most when it comes to pass rush? And the most, is it speed or is it length and power? I would say as a unit, I would say, man, I don't know. I don't think the guards, well, Joe Tooney being one of them, I don't think they struggled against much, to be honest. Maybe a little bit of speed with Trey, but definitely speed with both of the tackles, right?
Actually, I think Juwan Taylor does a nice job against speed. He struggles himself with the speed to power, like the length and power, because he doesn't have the sand in his pants. At least he didn't. Like, then you see him against Aiden Hutchinson last year, 2 years ago, where he shut him down. He has like technical spots where he's able to beat some of those guys, but if he allows them into his chest, he just gets bull rushed. So he specifically struggles with the speed to power. But because he gets so in his stance so quickly, the combination of him and Trey Smith struggle against quick inside counters because the B gap becomes too big. So you have to be able to communicate properly with Trey Smith. He has to be able to get down a little bit more. Trust Creed to get inside that A gap a little bit more, but that becomes a problem if you're shifting. So I think realistically, they all have some of their struggles. The left side of the line right now, we don't really know, but it's going to struggle with speed. Like Jalen Moore is going to struggle with speed. He will. He is not the quickest into his set. He's not. And we're going to find out with Kingsley Suamate at guard. If it's Caliendo, he's just bad. It doesn't matter if it's speed, doesn't matter if it's power. He's just not good. So there's a couple of different things there.
It's kind of like Kingsley or Norzad are the only viable options as far as I can see right now. So we're going to find out. Thank you, Ruthless. Good to see you. Bradley, if the Chiefs in that locker room right now and come to the AFC West, definitely take seriously on the Broncos and the second best team in the division. I think our guys are aware of it right now. I think they are aware of it. I think they can see the writing on the wall. I agree with you. I think they surpassed the Chargers, and I think the Raiders are the bottom of the division yet again, but I do think they're going to put up more of a fight than they have recently.
Yeah, the Broncos should have beat the Chiefs twice last year.
Yeah,
Should have been. They should
in
have. Like
all reality.
in all reality, they should have. Regardless of what you want to think about this, the last game of the season when they didn't play anybody, they should have won both games. And honestly, their defense only got better. I don't think their offense got like a ton better because I mean
No.
RJ Harvey's fine. Pat Bryant was a weird selection, but it makes sense given what Bo Nix struggles with. He struggles with ball placement. So you get two bigger catch radius receivers to where it doesn't matter as much. Cortland Sutton, Pat Bryant are going to help do that, and they've done a nice job of incorporating the deep ball with Marvin Mims, who took a step last year. I don't think he's going to be that level of player this year, but overall, it makes sense to me offensively. It can do enough to win games because their defense is going to be very, very good.
Yeah, and they're going to let him deal. It's going to be, I think, a more rhythmic offense from them this year as well. And good for them. Good for Bo. Dub Freak, thanks, buddy. Hell yeah, I'd love that. Just thought Dan would be gutted because the Spurs are Arsenal's hated rival. Oh, okay, gotcha. Plus, that's worse for us Villa fans. The goal differential means that we missed an extra $100 million in TV money. Seriously, $100 million in TV money?
Unserious. That's unserious.
Unserious.
That's unserious. That's not fair. And I'll be honest. Even though I am an Arsenal fan, I don't know the rivalries. I'm not over there. It's a little bit different for me because I watch just based on the team that I like, and I don't know. I wasn't brought up to know the rivalries. What that nobody would know that the Detroit Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche are rivals. No one would know in today's game because it's different, and they weren't raised with that. So for me, it's a little bit different because I never grew up with it, and rivalries I think are embedded in fandom when you're young. When you get older, it doesn't mean as much anymore.
I agree. It is about your perspective. Damn, 100. I still can't get over 100 million.
Thank you very much, Dub Freak.
Yes, thanks, Dub. Nice to see you. Dan, why do you keep saying that the Mahomes era of high scoring is over? Realism.
All right, we're going to shake it out now. We're going to shake it out, guys. So realistically here, this is a couple of things. So Jeremy and Swag Boy plays into it a little bit here with Dan saying teams play too high against other teams in the Bengals and the Ravens, and there's still explosive scoring a lot. Why can't KC? So these two questions go hand in hand for me because Andy Reid does not give an F about throwing the football down the field against two high safeties. He refuses to let Patrick Mahomes access the seams. When is the last time Patrick Mahomes threw a seam ball? Can you guys remember that? Go flip on a Dak Prescott game. He does it every single game because it's accessible. If you trust your receivers to do it against the cover 2 defense or your tight ends, it's there. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, all these young rookie quarterbacks have no fear, and they throw the football to their playmakers to let them go and make it. Andy Reid prefers to scheme open players. That's what he wants to do. And this is not bad mouthing him. It's not bad mouthing Patrick Mahomes. Realistically speaking, unless there is a fundamental change in the way that Andy Reid wants to operate his offense, they aren't going to access those parts of the field that will bring in more possessions for the Chiefs, that will allow them to score faster, unless the run game is more explosive. You're not going to see all of that. All of it has to work together. And right now, the offense is built to score slowly and just churn the clock down. That's what it's designed for.
And it started with the Bengals going to all those high coverage looks with deep shells. And until you make them get out of that, they're going to continue to do that, especially the teams that know better, right? The only way you can make them get out of it is to run the ball at them or hit them with a lot of short underneath routes. And I don't even know that works that well, but it's a concept. So it is what it is. The era has to change. High scoring and high yardage are somewhat different things, because if you take the ball away and you give Patrick Mahomes short fields, all of a sudden you're scoring a lot more. So the per drive happens. It's the number of drives that I feel I'm probably going to concentrate on a little bit more this year.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully we can see an uptick in that. Realistically, if they get a couple more explosive runs, it will just helps so much. But when you're only getting max 7 yards a run, you're not helping your offense, man. It's efficient. The numbers look great, but you're not helping your offense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Would Kayvon Thibodeau be a good fit in KC now that he is behind Carter? I don't think so. I'm still not impressed with his hand usage or any of the things that make him different than Uche, to tell you the truth. The guy does nothing for me. Maybe you disagree.
I mean, I disagree on the the player he is, but in terms of what he's done in the NFL, it feels like he's more of a locker room problem. Like that feels more his problem is he can't get out of his own way. And when you can't do that, you're never going to improve. Like he doesn't feel like he does the work on the outside. And again, I don't know him as a person. That's an assumption I've made by watching and kind of taking bits and pieces here. The fact that they drafted Abdul Carter and they brought in Brian Burns and they traded a first-round pick to go get him last year. And they said, Kayvon, you were a top 5 pick, and we'd rather have these 2 players starting in front of you. That's how I feel about that. And that tells me more about the player and the person that he is than the actual developmental upside that would be worth the trade.
That's fair. That's fair. If they're not willing to invest to him, why would we?
Correct.
Doug, nice to see you, bud. RGR, about a year ago, you guys said about Creed to left guard and Norzad to center. Should they do it now? Thoughts? Yeah, I kind of poo-pooed the idea because I felt like it made 2 positions weaker. That's different now without Joe Tooney. If Kingsley can't work out, could you look at doing that? You could. I would still more likely try Norzad straight into left guard and go with that until there's a reason not to. That'd be my personal approach.
At this point, I think we can kind of nix it. And the only reason that, again, I would have entertained it is if they traded Trey Smith. It was more about if Smith wasn't in Kansas City, but Joe Tooney was. You could put Creed kind of at right guard. You'd probably get the same, if not better, play out of him realistically, because Creed's just a better player in general, but then you would still be at a loss at center. So it was an idea we floated in case, somebody was traded. Obviously somebody was, but now we understand the thought process again. It was also with the idea that Kingsley was your left tackle, right? That was the idea. Now he's your left guard. So you're kind of seeing things a little bit differently.
Yeah. I do think it could become a competition, though, Doug. We'll see. Yeah. It's not a giveaway to Kingsley, and I don't think Caliendo's the pressure. I think it might be Norzad.
Correct.
Gary, nice to see you, pal. One of our mods, give him a hand. Will Mahomes have more passing yards of 15 or more yards this year? So big chunks. I refer to explosives as 20 pluses, but that's okay. And guys, I forgot to mention, we are experimenting with the new feature on our system.
Yeah.
To let you see all the comments here. Let us know what you think of it. Throw your thoughts in the chat or in the comments later when you're watching. Just want to know what you guys think. I think they need to try to do that. I think the difference is if you have Hollywood and Xavier available, you can run off those deep coverages. You can attack 2 high safeties and run them out so that now the average depth of target is in 8. Maybe it's 14, and now you're getting those 15-yard chunks.
At the end of the day, for me, it comes down to the run game. If the run game can be a threat, I think Patrick Mahomes will absolutely have more passing touchdowns or just passes of 15 yards or more. I truly believe that with every fiber of my being, because realistically, it makes sense, right? The defense has to be a little more worried about the run game, creating more space for your offense to function behind them. That's the idea of it. And yes, I know play action still works without a viable run game. It works a hell of a lot better if you have one that people actually have to second guess about, not take 1 step forward and then 1 step back immediately because, who cares if Kareem Hunt runs for 5 yards this time? Who cares if Isaiah Pacheco runs into the back of his offensive line because I'll be able to recover and get back to him?
Right. There's no fear factor. It changes the way you play the game. I'm not sold on Carter either after asking for the 56. Either is he insane or he's confident. And good for him. He should be confident. I don't know. The shoulder bothers me. Hard to pass rush without a shoulder, and I don't know the prognosis there. I don't mind him going for LT's number, but I was not 100% sold on his health and longevity, to be honest.
Agreed. And I think realistically, until we know more about the shoulder, we'll kind of have to wait and see. But I got no problems with the 56. He wore 11 at Penn State, right? It's an honored number. He wanted kind of an honored number in the NFL, and I got no problems with that. So you do what you got to do, but overall, we're going to find out how that injury plays in, because if he can't play in training camp and it seeps into, we start to see it at training camp or in the preseason, and then that can linger, and I'm a little worried about it, but hopefully it's nothing.
Knock on wood. Mr. Mallard, nice to see you. If Kingsley plays at a rookie Trey Smith level and at the combo left tackles plays an average or to above average level, would you consider it a net gain or loss to similar to last year? I would call it a gain, is what I would do. Because if you can get average play out of your left tackle, whoever it is, you are better off protecting Pat and letting him do what he needs to do.
It's hard to say that it would be a net gain for me just because Joe Thuney is no longer in Kansas City, and because he gives you viable upside at left tackle, even if he can't play guard, or you don't have someone to play tackle. He can do that in a pinch. In Kingsley, we have a little evidence to suggest he can't do that. Whatever. Hopefully that gets better. But if he plays at an average guard pace, I think we're talking about a middling situation, like a negation for me. Like I don't think it's a net gain because Joe was so valuable, but you have to get at least above average to good left tackle play for me to consider this being a net gain. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can live with that. Little more optimistic, not a big deal. Thoughts on Tootie's extension amount? What was it? 3 for 35, was it? I didn't see.
It was 17 a year.
Oh, was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, Ryan Poole. Good for Joe. That's my thought on it. that's trying to give.
Sneezed.
Yeah, I think that's trying to show we're willing to spend on you, Caleb Williams. That's what I think that message is.
I loved it. I would have done it in Kansas City. I wouldn't even look back. 17, it would have been less than what it would have been less than what he was making.
Absolutely. Even at 34, is he?
Yeah,
whatever he is.
Would have paid it. I want to look back, and I would have thought about it. It would have been amazing, and I'm really upset that the Chiefs don't have him.
Fair enough. Yo, it's actually super nice. I don't have to put the chat on or have it pulled up 24/7 on my phone. There you go. Okay, cool. So there is a good use case. I am happy to hear that. Thank you, Minotaur. Appreciate you. Jeremy, the run game is never a threat. Hasn't been since Reed for some 30 years. It has been from time to time. Just not consistently.
Just go even back to Isaiah Pacheco as a rookie. He was explosive. You had to worry if you didn't get the run lanes figured out, he would be gone. And even back to Kareem Hunt. Go back to his 2018 year before he got kicked off the team. He was incredible. His rookie season, he was fantastic. Jamal Charles I won't even go back that far. Damian Williams had nearly 1,000 yards rushing for the Chiefs. People forget that. Like there were players that in the system you had to worry about. But last year, not a soul. There was not a soul you had to worry about. Even the year before, where Pacheco was just kind of there, he was still getting hurt. They didn't have anybody. Jerick McKinnon was great, but he wasn't doing what he could do when he was with Minnesota. Like these things were different. They need somebody that is a threat. I think that's more of my point, Jeremy.
Yeah, they need to scare teams into changing their game plans. Swag, do you think that Mahomes looked faster years 18 to 22? He looks slower to me a tad bit. I guess that's age, though. I think you're absolutely right. Age and high ankle sprains. That'll slow you down. I think he's doing a very good job staying nimble, but yeah, he's probably a touch, but I don't think it's drastic.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say that Pat is Pat, right? He's gained a little bit of dad weight, which is fine. I got no problems with that. Obviously, he knows the ins and outs of his own body and the flexibility training keeps him spry enough to create angles and advantageous angles for himself, which is at the end of the day, for a quarterback that is not winning based off of rushing, all that matters to me. He's the best scrambler, pure scrambler in the NFL. Like, he knows exactly what to do and how to take advantage of that in terms of efficiency, not creating explosive plays. But I'm not that worried about in terms of him being a tick slower, because he knows how to manipulate more than enough.
Yeah, he scrambles to deliver the ball. He doesn't scramble for yardage, and that's perfectly fine. I like that. Hanneman, nice to see you. What are your hopes for our run game with Simmons? With Simmons, I think the outside zone will be drastically better. He is a very good athlete. I'm more excited about the screen game with him, though, from what I've seen. I don't know how you feel.
He's the first guy that wants to finish every play at left tackle in a very long time. Even Orlando Brown, for everything he was as a run blocker, wasn't a mauler. Like, he just didn't ever do that to guys in Kansas City. Josh Simmons wants to do that. He wants to second level. He'll get to the third level. He will block his ass off. So I'm excited about the prospect. Again, if he comes back to being whatever he was at Ohio State last season, that excites me. But like, to Ryan's point, you can do a lot with Josh Simmons. It doesn't just have to be the run game. You can get him out in space, and you see him on a cornerback, even an NFL cornerback, you might want to make some adjustments to what you're doing there.
Run towards his butt. You're going to be in good shape. That's where you need to be. Doug, how valuable will Mike Edwards be for our safety room this year? I mean, I think he's going to be a good calming factor. I think the young guys will probably play over him for a good bit. If they get in trouble and they're not progressing, or Brian takes a step back, he could fill in. But I think he'll be able to give them angles and help mentor them to the point where it might raise the whole room.
As long as we can see him being like a comfort player where he's the single high at times, like, I think taking some of that off their plate will make them more comfortable. And if they're able to come down to the box, Brian Cook can play a little bit more in the box if he's on the field, and they don't have to rely on him being the single high guy all the time. I think that helps Brian Cook be better. I think that helps every safety be a little bit better. So overall, I think he's a calming factor for the safety room, because not just of his veteran appearance, he's been in the defense, before. He'll have some of that experience, but it'll take some of the worry, hopefully, off their plate.
I hear you. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here pretty quickly. Swag, Dan, at first I was against you when you said keep playing Kingsley. I understand what you mean now. They should have never sat him. And
correct. Yeah. You see it work out
now
all over the NFL. Look at Andrew Thomas and I'm not saying he would have been Andrew Thomas, but go to the Giants with Andrew Thomas, who was awful in his first year. He was awful. But what happened after that? He learned what not to do. He learned it for 16 games straight. Kingsley had a game where he struggled against speed against Trey Hendrickson, and the Chiefs said, sit down. They said, sit down.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get a foothold in the NFL if the first sign of trouble, your team sits you. You need experience. The only way to get that playing experience is to play. And the Chiefs, in my opinion, let the stress of a three-peat get in the way of potential development of left tackle. Now, they got Josh Simmons, but there is inherent risk there. There is inherent risk. So I'm still very mad about it. I'm still very mad.
I couldn't tell what you're talking about. Minotaur, I'm going to sneak one more question in here. Well, you did successfully. We are out of time, but we'll cover this. Over under, Josh Simmons scores one receiving touchdown this season. Under. Next season's a different story, though.
Absolutely. Now, if he's ready to go and he's the sixth offensive lineman, don't rule it out. Like, if he comes in and he's eligible, guys. I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I would say under, though.
And we'll squeeze this one in. I think we covered it a little bit earlier, but where you're at on Cook right now is not as optimistic as I am. No. Again, the role is the problem for you, right?
Absolutely. When he came out, he was like somebody you want to have a too high, like, box safety. And the Chiefs said, no, you're going to play free. And he was like,
huh?
Okay. Okay. It's been a struggle. He's been on the struggle bus a little bit. If they can get Brian Cook into a more traditional too high box safety role, unfortunately, that's kind of going to be taken by Jaden Hicks, in my opinion. So I'm left wondering where he and Shamari Connor fit into the defense with Mike Edwards holistically. Brian Cook, I think, is the third or fourth best safety on the roster. That's where I'm at. And the only reason I would put Shamari Connor over him, because he has instincts. He plays instinctually. He finds the football. Brian Cook still struggles to do that. And Connor, even though he's not very good in the nickel, he knows where the football is. He's always around it. And so that's where it would be for me.
Yeah, that's all fair. I would put him as the second best player right now in the safety group, but the usage is absolutely. The problem is you have four guys that need to be within 12 yards of the line of scrimmage that don't belong at 18 deep.
Correct.
That's the problem. Minotaur, have a good one. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Swag, and everybody else. We appreciate you all having our backs, especially in the middle of the week on a weird night. So,
absolutely.
Cheers to you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one. We'll have more content for you this week. I am traveling again this next weekend, so look for some crazy stuff from Crazy Times. So cheers to you, and Dan, cheers to you.
As well as you. Everyone, have a great rest of your week. Hopefully Ryan gets some sleep. We all need a little bit more of that in our adult lives, but we will be back tomorrow with the Brashard Smith breakdown for you guys.
Awesome. Do not miss that. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.